Incito educators. As I begin to think about what has driven me as an educator for 40 years, I've come up with, if I don't feel passion and I don't feel that I'm bringing or inspiring others, I shouldn't be an educator. And so I came up with Incito educators. I started doing research on what does it mean to dream or to inspire, and Incito is one of the words. So Incito educators, I hope that I will be able to provide words that would inspire, to help, to push forward a homeschool parent, a new teacher, even an experienced teacher who's just losing their passion to why they went into this job. So let's just talk about the word incito. Incito means to urge, means to encourage. If you're an educator and you're not encouraging your kids to believe in themselves and to grit through something that's a little hard, I think we've forgotten the why. Why did we even get into this job? Then how do we build passion for our students? We had passion when we started this. How do we build that in them for wanting to be a learner, wanting to be a thinker, not just get the paper done and be done with it? How do you lead students? How do you lead people to become better, to better themselves? Because really true education is bettering a person. It's not just giving them a bunch of facts. It's giving them more of a broad worldview, and they begin to decide what their worldview is going to be, what their beliefs are going to be. We need to give them a chance to start to use discernment and how to research information to come up with their own thought process. We need to spur them on. Kids give up quickly. We got to give them grit and spur them on to keep going through what Australian kids might call the pit. John Hattie loves to say, visible learning comes when kids struggle through something and then they come out on the other side by themselves with strategies that teachers have given them, and they feel successful. In fact, I remember watching one video where the little kid goes, you're in the pit, and then you just work it, and finally you go, hallelujah, because I got out of the pit by myself. I figured it out. We've got to give our students that. So that's where I feel, as I retired from education, but not truly retired, is how do we get homeschool parents or new teachers that are coming into a really tough situation? How do we give them that passion, that feeling to go on, and then for them to give that to their students? We want our students to be great readers, mathematicians. They don't have to be super smart at math, but they have to be able to make connections so that they can figure things out, so they can become an adult that actually can use some math in their life, because we all use math. We want people to become readers. I would love everyone to become a lifelong reader because I think books are so important. I'm not sure if what we've done after COVID, putting more academics online, is really the way to go. Because learning is social and learning is emotional. And so all those words that I've talked about, what incito means, definitely is part of a nose-to-nose, a social and emotional words. You cannot truly inspire teaching online. The education system is broken. We've gone so far, the pendulum has swung so far to that we are just trying again to just put facts in kids' heads. We are test prepping them to death, so hopefully to pass the test. None of that is inspiring to children. Children want to know you care about them. There's that famous line, no one cares unless they know how much you care for them. So you as a teacher or even as a parent, if you don't show them how much you care about them as people, they really don't want to learn. But as soon as they know you care about them, they will go the extra mile because they know you love them. I'm going to talk, when I talk about educators, I'm going to talk with homeschool parents and teachers, because I feel parents are pulling their kids out of the classroom. They're choosing to be teachers. So we've got to figure out how to help parents and new teachers find their why. Why are you doing this? Why did you want to teach your kids? Not just why did you pull them out of school or why did you go into education, but why are you working with kids? What is your why? Ask yourself that each day as you get frustrated or you're like, I don't know what to do. What's the why today? And then even ask your kids, why are we doing this? See what they start to say. Pretty soon, I hope they say, because I want to get more information in my head. I want to learn something. I just don't want to pass a test. Passing a test does not bring passion. It means, hey, passed a test. Now, if you really give them a quiz or assessment that showed some thinking behind it, some metacognition, then everyone's excited about the score on their test. But just to answer some multiple choice tests or to fill in some blanks, most of that's done with memorization. Be an effective teacher or a homeschool parent. It really takes your responsibility to teach those children. You have to figure out how to get them excited about what you're teaching. So if you're not excited, how do you get yourself excited? I always said you have to date it so you can love it. So keep working at it, and eventually you'll find the little nuggets that make it exciting to teach and then exciting to learn. I have a wonderful friend who is an amazing teacher for my daughter and for many other kids. And I remember I used to say to kids, oh, don't give the answer away. And she said it so beautifully because it's true. She said, don't give the gift away. Let them figure it out because learning is a gift. It is an amazing gift to learn. It's an amazing gift to learn and not memorize. So make sure that you're teaching for learning, for thinking, not just to memorize some facts. How do you start to become an inspirational teacher? Well, we first have to really start with planning. Believe it or not, that's why all teachers should plan. Homeschool parents, you need to be planning. You cannot just open up the program or the curriculum that you purchased and do the next page. You've got to look at it and decide, how does this work for my child? How does this work for my students? You may have to do some research on the information that you're trying to teach. You have to break it down into kind of bite-sized pieces so that you can teach it. I sometimes like to give the children the whole big picture of where we're going and then start to break it down. Some kids hate that because it freaks them out. But I kind of like to know where we're going. We have to learn the discipline before we teach it. So if I'm teaching math, I've got to understand that strand. If I'm teaching writing, I've got to understand that genre, that domain. If I'm teaching reading, what genre am I reading? Am I reading fantasy? Then there's certain elements that I need to teach my kids about, and I need to know it. I've heard too many homeschool parents say, I put the worksheet down in front of my kid, and they're not really excited about doing it. Or, if you had been me, I would have loved it. I would have filled in all the blanks and been totally happy, but I hadn't really learned anything. So if you have a super smart kid, you also need to figure out how to help them to continue to be a learner. That's a disadvantage that we have when kids kind of get information quickly. Oh, they're so smart. No, they're getting information quickly. But are they truly learning to think? There's a big difference. I will put it in a plug for one of my favorite books. I love a book called Connect the Stars. There's two main characters in it. One is Aubrey, and she knows that everyone is lying, even a little white lie, and that bothers her. So she feels that she shouldn't be friends with anyone. And then Aaron memorizes everything, so everyone thinks he's smart, until finally someone asks him what a king felt when he lost the war. He didn't know how to answer it because there was no fact about that. He had to actually think. He had to become emotionally involved with how that king felt. So let's make sure we keep bringing the emotional into our teaching. I love teaching. I feel excitement. And the reason I feel excited about it is because I wait for that light bulb in a kid's eye And then I know, oh, they got it. And then when they make a connection to something else in the world, I know they've truly got it because they're holding on to that information and making connections. That's what's so beautiful about teaching math. There's so many connections between these strands. You know, those whole numbers, now how do they break into fractions and decimals? The connection's always there. Reading a book, you'll connect with another book or the character of another book. Remember that just lecturing does not inspire learning. We want to get beyond memorizing facts. Even math facts aren't that important if you work with children to get them to think in numbers. So instead of saying 2 times 2, how about if you do skip counting with 2s? 2, 4, 6, 8, or 5, 10, 15, 20. Get them to understand those multiples instead of memorize 2 times 5, 2 times 6, 2. It's really not a way to make a connection for a kid. So as you think about teaching either your children at home or children in a classroom, remember that starts first with you. Find the why. Find the inspiration. Find the incito. Find out how are you going to urge, spur on, make a believer out of a kid. What are you going to do to prepare lessons that will change a kid's life each day? We need to keep the passion. We need to bring the passion back to teaching. We cannot be lecturers. We cannot explain a paper and do the doer of the worksheet. That is not learning. That is not teaching. And that is why the education system is falling apart. The people that have made differences in kids' lives are ones that take time, remember their why, find their passion, urge the kids on to find their own passion, spur them on to become better thinkers, better learners on their own, to become a lifelong reader. So hopefully as I do these podcasts, I will hopefully figure out how to incite you, encourage you, and help you to lead children to become learners and thinkers. Have a great day.